Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Evil Geniuses and Alliance. This is a best of one to decide who's going on to the grand finals, who's dropping down to the third and fourth. Fnatic already advancing on forward to that final, and yeah, Kaipi Gaming have dropped down to the third, fourth deciders. That does mean that a lot of points are going to be on the board for Fnatic now. They were actually at 0, but now they are looking at either first or second place. And yeah, we'll see exactly who they're going to be facing after this match here. So it's a pretty interesting matchup here. Evil Geniuses versus Alliance. And yeah, we've already seen Alliance kind of powering on through the tournament thus far. But in general, yeah, it's been really, really good to see them kind of on their completely in form and ready to rumble. So we'll see exactly what they have to bring to the table for this specific game. The Lone Druid is going to be slipping through unless EG bans it out here. But either way, thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I myself am Blaze. Here's Triumph. What's up?
Yeah, it looks like we will have the Lone Druid slip through. The question is whether or not Alliance will decide to run. I mean, pretty much they decide to run him whenever they get given him. That said, do they want to pick him first is the question, or do they want to grab something like Lifestealer straight up and just give it to Lodo? I mean, they've been running well, I suppose everybody has really, but I mean, Lodo, I think this is probably his most played hero in like the last 2 months flat. I don't think I've seen him play anything else for the most part, but I'm kind of expecting to see them just first pick Lifestealer just for Lodo. That said, EG, as long as they don't throw, should be a good match, obviously. They were definitely on form earlier on. And even with the standard and power net working well. And there we go. We'll just be the Lifestealer straight up. So they're going to make sure Loda gets that. The question, I think, Evil Geniuses is whether or not they're going to allow the Chen to slip through the second banning phase. Because generally speaking, we see stuff like Chen and Enchantress bans, so Aki can't get it. Particularly the Chen, because Aki has some really, really sick micro when it comes to those minions. And obviously, he makes his team... I mean, if you thought the last match that we saw EG play, Beaters was a complete pain in the butt for Quantic to deal with. Well, Aki... I mean, as much as I love Beaters, I've got to say Aki is probably the best Chen in the West, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. I think the most prudent draft here for the next two picks from Evil Geniuses would be a combination of Chen and Bane. Stealing up the Chen just so Ake doesn't have it available, and of course you do have a good lane combo, and then the Bane to deal with the fact that, again, the Lone Druid is going to be on the table. Now you could just pick up the Druid yourselves, and then if you steal up the Lone Druid and the Chen, then you kind of puncture a little bit of a hole in Alliance's draft, but they've shown to be flexible and resourceful in even the most difficult of drafts where people are just kind of denying everything that they want. So in this situation, EG does have Lone Druid for themselves, likely picked up by Bambo, though we have seen it laned in different ways, like the safe lane very commonly. Either way, though, in this position here, it's a very tough pick for this next one, what they're going to take on out. They probably want to pick up a support, and I think Chen is the best option. But yeah, it's Beaters' Chen versus Ake's. It's going to be picked up within the first 3 on one of the teams. We'll just see who's actually going to be selecting it first, with 1 pick remaining for Evil Geniuses before Alliance has their go.
Yeah, I mean, Alliance, they tend to run the same heroes. If there's anything Alliance tends to give people a slip on when they run similar heroes over and over, it's it's who runs them and where they put them, which lanes tends to trick people, like we saw the game before Alliance, how they just completely fooled their opponents just by running it differently. By running them in different lanes. Evil Geniuses, though, will pick up the Bane as well. Okay, so Chen will slip through into the... Well, I assume he's going to slip through. I don't think they're going to second pick Chen. Alliance tends not to do that. If they're going to pick up the Chen, Aki's hero generally comes in the 4th or the 5th slot, so they leave it until then. Yeah. They try to pick up those more... I think if they're going to pick something right now, I think it's going to go for S4. I think they're going to try and get his mid possibly right now, because EG haven't picked up theirs yet and tends to be something you try and keep off them. Sure. I'm really interested to see whether or not... I really want to see S4 run the Magnus, but obviously people have really been sort of going, you know what, I don't want to run the Magnus as much. Bubble crowing isn't as good as it was before. And, whoa. Oh, that's right. Oh, right. We probably should have thought of... I probably should have thought about this, the fact that Alliance, or particularly Loda, hates Tree and Protector now, so if they didn't ban him, probably going to pick him up.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor. I mean, they do have the next ban phase coming through, so they had the option, but it's nice to have it on your team as well. You kind of set it up where you can, of course, disarming the bear, and he can't Manta or BKB out of it, so he's going to be stuck in it for the full duration. That overgrowth is really good against Lone Druid, and on top of that, just great support to win out your lanes guaranteed based on that living armor, so really good position for them to be in. It's a tough decision to make because it's not the most flexible of heroes, but it will work for what they're looking for. The next picks that most people are going to be looking at are going to be the Keeper Light or the Chen. The Bane is a great hero to set both of those up, and so Evil Geniuses might want to pick one of those up, but has to watch out for specifically what Alliance is going to be going for as well. So kind of denying the enemy while picking up exactly what you want to build around. But I do like the Bane even by itself, because of course the potential to set it up in the lane, make sure that if you go for an offlane Lone Druid, that it's not hard countered, and most importantly when it comes down to the mid to late game, in a great position to shut down the lifesteal with the Fiend's Grip that they so desperately need. Because if they can't get control on Loda, then he's just going to take the game away. So that's a good step in the right direction.
I really like the Bounty Hunter ban there. I think it's a smart choice by Evil Geniuses. They really don't, because of course they've picked out the Lone Druids and they've already banned the Nature's Prophet. So generally speaking, Admiral Bulldog's choices tend to go Lone Druid, Nature's Prophet, and then either Darkseer or the Bounty Hunter. In this case, Bounty Hunter obviously had a buff to track. It's now only 50 mana, so it's much easier for him to spam at the early levels. Obviously, he has mana issues. And the fact that it obviously gives extra gold, but the big deal, of course, is it gives lifesteal a huge movement speed buff during fights, and that really means that it really frees them up. Doesn't really need to get that drums, and Treant Protect doesn't need to farm for drums, although you can still get it. But just the flat movement speed buff, it gives lifesteal so much help. And the negative armor as well, obviously really helpful as well, but it's most of that movement speed buff for mobility. Now, Ichi banned out the Rubik, which is an interesting choice. Well, I suppose Bane, obviously easy Fiend Grips from Bane. Very easy to nick, but I'm just wondering if that's indicative of a particular large ult that they're looking for. Maybe. I was almost going to say, I mean, often when we see Rubik banned, they're really thinking of something huge like Black Hole or Chronosphere, but I don't, like, we could see a Black Hole worked in here, but the Chronosphere I kind of doubt. I don't think we could fit Void in this lineup. It'd be very, very greedy, unless they're planning to run Lone Druid in the off lane, but I don't think they can afford to with Lifestealer and Treant Protector as the potential for an offensive tri-lane that's just really difficult to chew through.
Warlock.
And a Warlock. Okay.
Strong. I really like the Warlock pick here. It's going to guarantee that they can win a 1 versus 1 matchup, even up against Living Armor. It's one of the few heroes that I think can really penetrate on through Living Armor as effectively as he can, with his just single target damage over time from Shadow Ward and the Fatal Bonds as well. It just really, really locks somebody down hardcore. As long as he has the mana to support it, until Treant hits level 5, level 7, Warlock's going to be easily winning that lane, assuming no ganks. Of course, Alliance are very mobile, very active. EGM and Ake are probably going to put pressure out if it's a mid-Warlock, so we'll have to see. But starting things off, it's great for them, and not having to worry about the Rubik stealing the Golem means that you're either forcing them to go into Diffusal Blades or just bite the bullet and tank through really, really heavy Golem damage. Just a Flaming Fist procs can do quite a bit there. So it's going to be interesting to see how much level early the Warlock gets. But in turn, a fellow that we haven't actually seen, either through bans or just not actually picking him up, Darkseer, does make his way to the field, and that'll be a very effective offlane for Alliance for Admiral Bulldog.
Yeah, I'm assuming Bulldog's going to have it too. I kind of want to see a couple of big nukers, big AoE nukers being picked up EG, just to really capitalize on the Fatal Bonds to make sure they're spreading around as much love as they can with that. So we might even see something like Queen of Pain get popped in again. Obviously, she has some good mobility, and maybe that's why the Rubik's been banned out. Like, obviously, Naga Siren, it's fairly easy to steal the Siren Song if you just have him stand back. So that would make the most sense to me as to why they would have banned out the Rubik.
So the cool thing about Naga Siren is the setup she provides for Warlock, Golem, and Fatal Bonds. You get in position. One thing is the Fatal Bonds isn't the greatest range, so by setting up with a Sleep to start it off, then you follow up, you drop the Fatal Bonds, and you immediately can drop the Golem. On top of that, either Naga Siren or Lone Druid, whichever has more farm, is going to be going for a Radiance. So combining that together, Radiance 50 magic damage per second, and if you have Fatal Bonds on 5 heroes, that's doubling AoE-oriented damage. So they're all taking 100 of magic damage per second effectively, which is just ridiculous. So I really like the Naga Siren. It also enables them to go more aggressive if they want to go for like a safe lane Druid or something like that. They could try to go Bane Siren and use her Riptide to spam out harassment on heroes like Lifestealer or any of those low armor supports.
I also like the fact that she's really good against the Lifestealer, just the fact the net, it locks down the Lifestealer, he goes right through rage, pin him down, and the other thing is if he rages and she sings, it's now 5v1, and Lifestealer can't win that by himself, so his only choice is to infest or creep and hide for a bit. So, I mean, she can lock him down really well using that, so I do like the pickup. The question is whether or not they're going to find the room to farm. This bothers me because obviously Naga Siren needs a little while to get rolling. She does need to get a bit of cash. Lone Druid as well needs a bit of cash. Warlock, obviously, has got a pretty good ult, but right now they don't have the damage to carry them through this early phase, particularly if Storm Spirit gets off to a good start. They don't really have the damage or the lockdown to shut him down effectively. Darkseer, the Iron Shot does a ridiculous amount of damage. You throw that on Lifesteal and he's going to cause all sorts of carnage. Lifesteal as well hits really hard. Storm Spirit hits hard. So this bothers me a bit that they might not have the firepower to go toe-to-toe with Alliance just yet. And I think their last pick is going to have to pack some really, really big guns.
I'm thinking Skipper Light most likely. You got the Ensnare, you got the Nightmare. It's a perfect setup to make it work for you. And yeah, you're not going to be worrying too much about a Storm ganking hardcore on the keeper, since he's usually turtling under towers when he's sending out illuminates, and you can, of course, TP to that and respond with some good disables. So, in general, I think if Naga Siren builds up a Diffusal Blade, Mana Burns on Storm, and you pick up the Keeper Life for the tri-lane, you have a huge punch that you're looking for. Along with that, again, synergy with the Fatal Bonds, and yeah, it gives you that kind of turtle presence so that Warlock can get to where he wants to be, which is level 16, with an Aghanim's, possibly with a Refresher, and with enough tools to survive through an Orchid gank, because Storm Spirit, the reason for picking up the Storm Spirit here, other than it being a great mid option, is for Storm Spirit to rush an Orchid and make sure that Warlock doesn't get a Golem off in a fight. If a Golem does not occur in a fight, it's automatically won by Alliance, unless it's atrociously initiated, but Darkseer and Treant generally are going to have that in the bag.
Here's the. I think he has a problem because he's got to get Naga Siren first. If he doesn't get Naga Siren, he tries to jump Warlock. Naga Siren stings, and suddenly, well, he can write out the silence, and then you get golems to the face regardless. So I think that's the problem. He's got to go for Naga, and if he's going for Naga, who else has some ability to then go after Warlock? That's unless Treant manages to find a Blink Dagger in there somewhere and then deliver a Lifestealer to his face. I don't see that happening all too easy, unless we're going to see something crazy like a double Orchid. Storm Spirit has an Orchid, and Lifestealer grabs an Orchid, and he takes a Lifestealer in with him, but...
Yeah, they're going to need another physical damage dealer if they're going to go with that route, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the big issue there, and it's an Undying.
Fun.
Wow, so they're really going for that ult setup with Naga Siren. Undying moves in, they get the Fatal Bonds, get the Tombstone down. Wow, that's interesting choice for Evil Genius. Kind of an all your eggs in one basket, but this looks like pretty much Evil Geniuses are just going, you know what, let's get to about the 25-minute mark, get our early items, and then we're going 5-man Dota. Let's go, let's fight. 5-man fights only. Yeah. And it's going to be another Alliance to split push, but they don't really have a split push lineup here, so that could be a serious problem for them.
Yeah, this is difficult. Obviously, them banning out the supportive Gyrocopter option really hurts them. If they had Gyrocopter available in the pool, Ake could pick that up and do a Flat Cannon versus the Tombstone, and they'd be much better off in their early skirmishes. As it is, they're just in a really rough position. They're going to be taking a lot of damage from the Tombstone, either Nightmare or the Ensnare to set it up, and somebody's going to be dropping quickly. So they changed up their mindset to a push-oriented role. Pretty much as soon as they hit Mechanism, they're clear to just push towers like crazy, use Darkseer's ultimate very actively to try to just win fight after fight after fight, because they can't really let this game go late. They can't let Jo farm as much as he'd want to. He's not a carry, of course, but the presence of those golems cannot be denied, and S4 isn't going to have the tools to deal with it for quite some time. So they're really worried about the early game. Venomancer probably one of the best level 1 supports, so they're going to be able to set that up nicely and just try to do as much damage as possible very early on.
We'll see. Yeah, the Fear has the Old Man Bladder. Alright, so we're going to be waiting on him. But, yeah, this is... Oh, boy. EG. I like the lineup. I mean, normally I freaking hate Naga Siren with a passion. I feel like she's cancelled this game. I just hate her ultimate. It's such a buzzkill. But in this case, if they are just using it to set up non-stop fights, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this game's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of potential. So... trying to think about, as far as laning goes, is there anything that could be done unpredictably by either side? What I was thinking would be, like, combining things together. They could have... Their last pick was I just completely forgot it, for Evil Geniuses. Fear is going to be running on the...
Bane. No, they got Bane.
So last support.
What was it?
I'm dying. Okay. So
yeah, that's... Yeah,
aggressive tri-lane is what that screams to me. Bambo, B-Diz, Fear together, going down bot. PowerNet, safe lane farming on the lone Druid, presumably versus a Darkseer 1v1, and then Warlock, of course, will be on the mid lane. That would leave Storm, generally speaking, on the mid. That would leave Bulldog most likely up on the top, and then a defensive tri-lane at bottom with Ake, Loda, and EGM, which is, of course, what they're comfortable with. But I will say that they don't necessarily have to go for that. If they want to try to dodge out the try versus try against Undying, they could go for a different route. But for right now, it does seem like they're going to be trying to make their way down on that bot lane.
I mean, EG here, I mean, the best case scenario here for Alliance is that they win their lanes and just basically delay the potential team fight from EG. EG, for like all their fight, like for all their huge wombo combo, they still need to get some core items. Like you said, need to find that mech, possibly need to find a pipe in there as well. Obviously, getting hit by the Poison Over is a pretty big issue. And of course, the Iron Shells and the wall can be somewhat of a problem as well. So we'll probably see them have to farm for a little while. And if Alliance can get a good, get off to a good start and then stay ahead, then we might see EG forced to turtle like really hard and play for that really late game, and that may give Alliance room to move. Because I mean, they do They do have a little bit of a lack of lockdown there. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Obviously, they've got the Fiend's Grip that can try and lock down S4, but I mean, if he gets his BKB and Lincolns, it's going to be fairly difficult for Bane to get a hold of him. And we've seen Storm Spirit. If they get off to a good start, they can completely rip teams apart all game.
Yeah. So I think they pretty much know what the matchups are going to be on both sides. It's pretty clear here, especially with the Bear connecting with Admiral Bulldog here. But anyways, so one big thing to mention is, oh, he's actually blocking it off, so it can't go back that route. That's actually pretty cool. He's going to make sure that he cannot pull creeps that way because he can't go over the steps. So that might be a cool little thing they can prevent. But either way, one thing I want to point out real quick before we start off is EGM's starting items. He pulled 2 sources of HP regen to Storm Spirit to go for Null Tally branches and go for Bottle first. And then he himself went Observer Wards and Courier. So this guy has literally a tango to his name. So this is very, very super supportive Treant, and the cool thing is he can afford to do that because as soon as he has a point in living armor, he's still very, very tanky. He can still keep himself alive and not really have to worry about the fact that he doesn't have continuous HP regeneration. So I think it's really, really good and effective for them, and we'll see how it plays on out. But for right now, we do see that Loda is kind of all by himself down bottom, whereas the Venomancer is making his move up on the top lane. So Darkseer Venomancer versus this safe lane Lone Druid. How do you feel about that?
I think Lone Druid's going to have a couple of... If they can land a Venomous Gale, Lone Druid's in a lot of trouble. The Iron Shell is going to completely wreck him. Oh, no, yeah, there we go. There's that Venomous Gale. And look at the Iron Shell. It's just going to destroy PowerNet. There's not much you can do at all. And they even throw in the Living Armor for good measure. And that's going to leave him without a bear now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much picking apart their lineup perfectly. Admiral Bulldog knows the weaknesses of that Lone Druid, and they're like, okay, he's on the safe lane. We get a kill on him instantly, and suddenly he can't do anything. Only 20 seconds before he can resummon. But in the meantime, they're going to make their next move. If Venomancer hits level 2, do you think he's going to go for a Plague Ward push along with Darkseer's creep skipping? Or do you think he's going to make his move back towards mid or bottom?
I think he'll probably go for the Plague Ward. I mean, the Plague Ward, just in general, I think is a lot more useful. Early on, the toxicity is nice, but they don't really need it that badly. Darks is already super speedy anyway, so if he's planning to gank up here, and if he rotates back to the bottom, the toxicity is not really going to do a whole lot down there as well. I mean, you're up against freaking Bane. Bane and Dirge, it's really not going to make a huge impact there at all. I think he's just going to use the Plague Wards because it's going to aid him here for pulling, for blocking, for diverting creep, or for even just trying to jungle these camps as well. So it's going to have a much better utility. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a standard 1 level in a Gale and then just max out Plague Wards as fast as you can.
Yeah. I was just thinking about like his rotations. Right now, Bulldog has all the HP resources in the world to go ahead and just creep skip constantly and cut out behind Lone Druid. Although he does have the Stout Shield and the Bear, it can only tank so much compared to Bulldog's AoE with the Iron Shell. Just cruising on through, taking an easy camp, then coming right back up to the lane. So they're completely cutting the lane. Oh, and even I didn't even think about that, but Living Armor eating up a whole volley of auto attacks as well. So in that position, it just means that Bulldog is going to be able to tank wave after wave after wave, and this tower can drop really quickly because of Plague Wards, Iron Shell together.
I don't think PowerNet's going to come back to the lane. He knows every time he steps out there, they're just going to gank him. There's nothing he can do.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and look, you're already Aki's scouting for him, looking for him, and he's going to come in here, steal his creep right there, nick his creep, and then as soon as Bulldog's done with his tower, they're going to be pushing in this jungle and just saying, PowerNet, you don't get to farm here anywhere.
Soul Ring up on Darkseer, still 3 tangos and a salve left. This tower's going to drop so quickly. I'm thinking like a 4-minute tower kill, and it's going to make up for the farm that Loda has lost. They knew it was going to be a rough lane down bottom for Loda anyways. He only has managed to get 2 creep kills, and he's fine with that. As long as he lives and gets the experience from the creep waves, he's perfectly fine to just get the tower gold as soon as it comes up through. Now the Bear in a really, really rough spot. Poison Sting doing so much. Iron Shell taken away. Bear gets blocked out from both directions, and they do get 300 gold. 300 gold on Admiral Bulldog. So PowerNet inadvertently feeding away, much to his dismay, a ton of gold and losing out a ton of presence with the fact that he no longer has a Bear.
Yeah, I mean, now, how long until the Bear comes back? Let me have a quick check. There's a 90 seconds. He can't even jungle now. Definitely a terrible choice there to not even feed the way they got. But I mean, obviously giving Bulldog 300 gold is a bit of a bummer. But yeah, no Bear for 90 seconds. Can't even jungle. Has to call in a friend now. Phone a friend. Here's Fear. I don't think Fear can do anything. Like, he's going to come here and maybe slightly irritate them. I suppose you get thrown down the tombstone, but I mean, these guys really want to. I think it's mostly down the fact Bulldog doesn't have any mana at the moment. But if they wanted to, they could kill PowerNet again. Just walk in, spray him. In fact, they're going to go for it, I think. He's got the Soul Ring up. He can go for it. Yep, there we go. Soul Ring, he's going to Iron Shell in a second, and Aki's moving in, and yep, throws down the tombstone, but it's not going to be good enough. And there we go, surges in. TP's going to, yeah, they have to call all the supports up here, and now Loda's going to start farming. They get the deny off, though.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is they were trying to make sure the tower didn't get dropped down. They should get the kill on Ake as well, even without a bear. Just a right clicks here, and the Gale missing entirely. Yeah, he's absolutely dead. So they do miss out on the tower kill. That is half the gold that they would have gotten, even less than that, actually. And they do, of course, get their first kill on the board. So it's pretty important to make that transition, and I'm glad they did. It's definitely going to put things back in their control a little bit. And again, they're the ones that can just wait it out. They're the ones that can take it to late game, because they have the Druid and Naga Siren, who can both perform admirably in the later stages of the game, and then the Warlock, who is just going to be the end-all be-all of team fights.
Yeah, well, for right now, I think the rotation... Like, the thing is, though, these supports are going to have all hands on deck trying to protect the Lone Druid now, which means... The problem is, they're not going to have any farm going towards the 25, 30-minute mark. These supports are going to be fairly under-farmed, and it's going to be really rough for them. Of course, they were trying to support down bottom as well, so they weren't getting much farm down there either. Bambo now is going to struggle a bit to get the farm just because Lifesteal looking harassed him really hard, and he's got the level advantage now. You see Bambo being forced back and forward. Beat is now rotating back to the bottom, so it's going to be fairly difficult for Fear to catch up here in terms of level and farm. Same for Beaters as well.
Yeah.
And that bothers me because we're going to see a lot of extra farm on the Trent as well. And Trent's obviously naturally tanky. And then obviously Venomance has been doing all right for himself on top of that. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to get to the point where you get to those fights and suddenly they want a team fight. They want to do that 5v5, but it's not going to work. Now, BD is now going to get open wounds on him there. Rage up there as well. Gale coming in. Nightmares himself, though, for the save. And he will actually, Nightmare will wear off there as well. But BD should go down, although Tombstone gets tossed down. There we go. The kill comes down. Loader going to take that net on Aki. They should get a revenge kill here for that.
Should, but again, the tree hunt nullifies a lot of that potential. Drops down the living armor, had the leech seed heal as well. Naga just can't close in, unfortunately, without the Riptide. So that is going to be an escape for them. They get the free pick off on Bane. He tried to immune himself just in that 1 second time window to actually keep the... Sorry, was watching up on the top lane. The vacuum just now coming off cooldown. Bulldog unfortunately not able to prevent the TP of Power Net that almost got dropped down yet again.
Bottom lane gank.
But anyways, down the bottom we do see Bambo dropping quickly. Lodo 2 right clicks away. He should get this right here. Oh, going for the deny. They do get the deny. Nice action from Fear, but he is trapped in 100%. Eating through the tree. Going on the run. He has Magic Stick. Dropping off the Decay on 2. Reducing some damage. He should be able to survive. I don't think he should try to turn it around, but here comes that Golem to prove me wrong. Dropping down Ake and EGM in just a moment. Right clicks are there, and that living armor is strong, but not strong enough. Going in for some push on the bottom tier 1. That Golem can tank it up, can dish it out. Either way, this tier 1 should be dropping very quickly, and unless Alliance is able to get a deny like we saw on top lane, it's actually going to be going in favor of EG now.
Yeah, the EG, they needed this bad, these kills, plus his tower, they really, really needed this one. Heal coming out there for Fear, going to try and help him out there. Loader moving in, trying to fend off the creep, just get a little bit of farm for the creep wave. He should be okay, though. I think he should be fine. He's got Rage up, so they're not going to kill him. He might even sneak in there and go for the deny in a second. There we go, he's thinking about it. He's just going to try and keep his health up there off the creep wave. No, he's not going to go for it. Going to infest in, and then going to get traveled back towards it. Oh, this could actually be a problem. That creep's going to get focused down in a second. He's going to get caught out. There is a little bit of help coming, although it's not actually going to be that great. There is a tree coming. I suppose the Leech Shield might help him out a bit. There we go. They're going to come back in. Net goes out. Going to catch Loader there. He's going to rage up there, trying to heal himself with the feast there. Going to get, well, maybe caught here. Naga Siren doesn't have her ult up yet. Riptide comes out. Loader taking a lot of damage. Leech Shield coming in there. Not going to be enough, though, and he will get brought down.
They tried. They certainly did. And in the meantime, Admiral Bulldog gets to do what he wants on top lane. Almost has a mechanism. Only 650 gold off from that, so he's in a great spot. Sword Spirit also has a double damage rune as well as, of course, its ultimate available. So they are going to be able to turn things around further, but right there, that positioning, Loda really, really wanted to deny, and then they went in too aggressively on him that he had to infest, and it was just a chain of events that led to his obviously very, very gradual but nevertheless effective demise. Now, we do see Admiral Bulldog entangled up on the top lane. Not often you can get to say that, but Bulldog does get entangled and is going to have to fall back as a result.
Yeah, how do you like to taste your own medicine, Bulldog? That said, I don't think PowerNet's figured out the secret of Bulldogs. I can actually use Brutes as an activatable ability because you get so many bullshit roots. But now, that mech coming in, it's roughly going to come in around about the 9-minute mark. That's going to be a very, very early mech. Going to be very difficult for EG to deal with if they decide to get active and start fighting that. I see, no, he's just going to look for the rune. Going to find an invisibility rune, and this could be another gank on the Lone Druid up in the top lane. Yeah, he is going to roll up top S4, going to head up there with the invisibility rune. It looks like the Admiral Bulldog's going to get scouted out, though. They know he's over there, but help is on the way. So Beat is just rotating to the top lane again, and they're going to spot out S4.
Yeah. So knowing he's there, they should be able to turtle up underneath the tower, and S4 is just going to be going farming away. But meanwhile, down on bottom, Loda picks up his farm. He was only like 2 CS. Now he's above Naga Siren. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Bambo, but his farm has been crippled. He's sitting now at level 6, maybe trying to use this song to set something up, but whatever is happening, it's not very effective, because right now Bambo is farming up his jungle. After they push down the tier 1 bottom, his farm just completely stopped. So now...
It's not just that.
Sorry?
Remember that the support's rotated away, and suddenly he's a level disadvantage against Lifestealer. Nothing you could do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult situation. He couldn't handle that 1v1 against Loda when the supports weren't there. I just thought after the Warlock Golem was committed and they won that fight there, that the Bambo could rotate around and find some good kills and, you know, find some CS and continue his farm. But right now, not really focused on that as much as he would prefer to be, and as a result, yeah, we are seeing Loda pull ahead by far. Last hits, all the top 3 are all members of Alliance, especially this Darkseer with 80 friggin' CS. Mechanism already up, not even 9 minutes into the game.
And the other thing we've got to remember about low-level Naga Siren is she had a base damage nerf a long while ago. So for her 1v1 farming is actually kind of difficult. She's got a pretty crappy base damage. And you see, like, right now, she's, what, level 6, and she's only just got up to the 70 damage mark. And you compare that to Lifestealer. And, you know, he got to hit, Loda goes to the early phase boots. He hits really hard. It's hard to deal with in 1v1. It's also hard to farm against him. It looks like we're going to get a kill there.
Yeah.
On Warlock. Venomancer going to pick that one up.
Really, really good pick. He was about to drop off the Golem, but there was just so much damage coming in. They timed perfectly the Electric Vortex, which is maxed out, and that Vacuum. Both of them interrupting each individual cast of the ultimate and shutting him down before he could get it off, and they could try to turn it around. So really, really good. Perfect staggering of their disables to make sure that they could lock him down. Now Admiral Bulldog chasing down PowerNet up on the top lane. That bear doesn't even have Orb of Venom actually, so gets the Entangle. But PowerNet's still going to take some hits. Either way, TP from the Warlock will come up top, and Bulldog's just going to keep on farming away.
Yeah, I mean, he's not too worried about trying to get the kill here at the moment. He's just going to make sure he gets farmed. Just basically makes PowerNet waste time, make sure he falls behind there. So it looks like they are still putting pressure on the mid tower. S4 looking to get this kill here. Beat is sneaking in, probably going to try and... For the night, here he goes. Oh, way too slow there. Goes in for the Enfeeble to try and stop it. Not going to happen, though.
Nope, unfortunately not. Loda continuing to farm up the jungle, letting EGM tank up for him, as well as use his major base damage to literally put them one right-click away. Now that's a support for you. Putting it in, so yeah, EGM only sitting on a net worth value of 1,200, but as long as Loda's tripling that, he's perfectly happy. So now coming back down on bottom lane, Loda is going to go for some aggression on Bambo, just to force him back, just to make sure that he can't farm safely and soundly. And since there are no earn charges, I don't think that there's much kill potential between Undying and Naga, especially with Treant so nearby.
Now, I'm just waiting, though. We've got to keep in mind, come out the next 9-10 minutes, so we've got to keep in mind that the team fight potential of EG is a Dice Courage picked off there. S4, I think, managed to find that one. Jo, though, going to sneak away here. In fact, BD is turning around, cancels the Golem there. Good thing he did. But, yeah, the team fight potential of EG is a lot higher. If they just decide in the next 9 minutes to group up and fight together, that's going to be fairly difficult for Alliance to stop. It's going to come down to how many early items Darkseer has. And fortunately for them, he's got the mech, and I assume a pipe will be on the way somewhere pretty soon as well.
Yeah. Just really, really good position for them to be able to just tank away. And if they can get those kind of utility items, obviously the mech already, and if he does move in towards the pipe, that means the wall replica is actually going to be able to survive against the Golem. The Flaming Fist doing the AoE magic damage with each proc, it's going to be nullified by that pipe, and that means that they're actually going to be able to keep the illusions up and kicking, which means these very stat-oriented heroes, specifically the Naga Siren, who loves to pick up a large amount of agility items, because of her illusions, is going to pay the price when Darkseer drops the wall replica right on top of her and turns those stats against her. So pretty big impact if they can get that off and get the mech pipe to keep the illusions active. And that might be just what the Doctor ordered if it's going to be able to hold up against this Warlock into later stages of the game. But for right now, healing up the Spirit Bear. Going to go in for some pressure up on the Tier 1 top, which has been to this point actually not damage whatsoever, either through the Treant Living Armor or just really, really thorough movement from the Darkseer. Either way, they're going to try to make something happen here. Tombstone comes on down. Decay, no, nothing really actually accomplishing. They're just going to keep the pressure out, zoning it out. The Gale goes across, but other than slowing down Fear, they're not accomplishing too much. Here comes Loda, though, trying to change that up. There's the Golem, dropping on down and multiple, but Jo just gets incinerated. Fear barely getting his heal off from the Soul Rip, but damage over time. The vacuum to pull him back on in, and now just trying to bring down the Tombstone briefly, so the zombies will go away, but not fast enough for Ake to survive. He gets slowed, he gets right-clicked by both the Golem and the zombies. Beatas gets locked down at the very last second. Oh my goodness, he almost got on out of there. But just not very unfortunate with the... I thought there was like an entangle or an overgrowth or something, but I guess I missed the animation on
I
that.
think you're seeing Leech Seed.
Leech Seed, that's exactly it. So just doing the damage, finishing it off fast enough before the TP could take effect. And yeah, they cleaned it up very, very nicely. So the tower still stands. They're going to be able to heal that up back up to full. And on top of that, taking away a number of big kills. And most importantly, using up that Chaotic Offering. The Rock is on cooldown. And with that, Alliance can just push in wherever they want.
Yeah, Lone Druid now just trying to use the jungle. Farming up with his late Midas there. That said, though, Bulldog going to continue pushing. Actually goes for a Vanguard, interestingly enough. I guess they decided there's not enough magic damage on EG to really care about it. So they're going to bypass that. I mean, you know what? There's not that much magic damage. Maybe if they get a Radiance later on, you might think about it. For now, the raw health from the Vanguard decided that's better off. But for the moment, it looks like, oh, Beat is possibly in a lot of trouble here. Throws down the Nightmare, though. In fact, looks like they're just going to back up. A Storm Spirit actually picks off a kill on bottom lane. Naga Siren, her ult was on cooldown. She used it to try and escape earlier from Loda. Did actually manage to get away, a bit of a buzz kill there. But at the moment, all the supports for EG focus on that top lane.
Yep. So going down on the bottom, the Poison Nova Gale enough to bring Naga low, and S4 plenty of mana to clean it up, and we'll be moving in towards that Orchid very quickly. Almost have his second Oblivion, so he's in a great position right here with his current GPM value of 402. That's adding up 3 kills, 2 assists, and 81 CS. So in a commanding position in this game, exactly where he wants to be. And along with that, they have so much map control. I mean, Bulldog's walking in next to their tier 2 top, forcing out a Tombstone by himself. I mean, Bulldog's just too tanky. With the Vanguard, he blocks all the zombie hits. Now he's going to get Fiend's Grip, but here comes the ultimate from EGM to clear him out. He has Leech Seed, he has the Living Armor. I mean, literally, if they focus any resources at all, and it's not a 1 versus 5, they cannot kill Admiral Bulldog. He has had 0 deaths all game, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finished it out as such. But of course, EG still have the opportunities to turn this around. They just need to keep focusing on team fight. They need to get a couple core items up and push hard with the big ultimates. But in the meantime, Bulldog's just trying to avoid that, specifically on PowerNet, screwing over his Lone Druid as much as possible, burning him down quickly. But there's the Entangle proc to come on through with the recall. And Vacuum In, is he going to actually get this kill? If he kills the bear, he'll drop it down to critical HP levels, but unfortunately he cannot take 2, and it's just going to be loaded to come on in. Bane is going to pause this on out. 1-800 Merlini, I'm not sure what's going on as far as lag or DC, but the entire EG house is lagging, so that's unfortunate. But I think it's safe to say that PowerNet's going to get dropped down here.
I imagine Bulldog is just sitting there at his PC yelling furiously, "This is what happens when you take my Lone Druid. This is what happens. Are you sorry? Are you sorry?" And I mean, honestly, they have been punishing this Lone Druid. Power has been getting punished all game. They've just been completely relentless to him. Bring him down yet again, and now Jao going to throw down his Chaotic Offering, going to get drilled down anyway. And now Fear's probably going to get taken as well. Vacuum is on cooldown, though. Do we have open wounds? No, not for another 10 seconds. Turns around to try and fight it, though. Throws down a Tombstone as well. They might even just, nope, not going to right-click it down. Tower, though, is taking some damage. Tree throws down the Leech Sheet as well, going to heal him up. And then we Vacuum back. Fear in a lot of trouble. Going to regret doing that. Are you sorry, Fear? Yes, you are. You are dead. And Loda still fighting, not really caring at all. Bulldog as well. He's not even dropping under like 3/4 health.
That was
That's
like
how
3
little he
versus
cares.
4 too. Like they can't do anything here. They drop a golem, and after the 1 second stun's gone, it's like, oh well, he's still nipping at your heels. He's still got open wound. He's got phase boost and drum. He's just too quick. You can't get away from him. Meanwhile, the Warlock's sitting on his own phase boost, but no, it's just they cannot survive, and the damage output is ridiculous. EGM, even though he was the most item independent support, he was the one who didn't pick up any items at all, just sitting on arcane boots, he's still doing 105 damage. So when he gets those right clicks, it's very, very high impact on heroes that only have 4 armor. So just cruising on through, they bring them down very, very quickly with a high damage output. And that comes down to the Darkseer with his massive right-click, the Tree with his, and of course Lifestealer with not only great right-click attack damage, but also that massive attack speed through Rage. And now, stalking on up on top of Jao, who they know doesn't have Golem. So they're going to go and get another kill off on him, and an Entangle's not going to come. So they do actually get this kill yet again. S4 zipping on through, trying to pick off PowerNet. Needs to go deeper, though, and instead just going to go and pull back the bear. So they get to pick off on the bear yet again, and he does not have a resummon for 63 seconds. So unfortunate for him as a whole, and now they just gain control yet again of the entire map. I don't see a way out for EG.
I think killing the bear is actually worth more than killing the Lone Druid at this point in time. A flat 300. I suppose factoring in there's no assist goal for it, but anyway. I mean, for Loda there, that's an extra 300 gold. It's pretty big there, although now we're going to charge in, throw down the Tombstone. There we go, Electric Vortex on Fear, going to zip away as well, dance back and forth. S4's out of mana though, they're probably going to need to back up. Nets get tossed in, going to catch EGM. EGM doesn't have any points in nature's guise, is going to get Nightmare there, throwing a throw down his ult. No, gets killed before he can. Brain Step going to finish him off.
So, I mean, a good pick. Like they certainly needed a kill, but really just throwing literally everything they have at this middle lane, and all they bring down is a tree, and who's going to be back up in 15 seconds. If they can get the tower along with it, great, but with Plague Wards and Fortification, it should be enough time for Alliance to counter-initiate. Even though Venomancer's low, a simple Nova, oh my gosh, that vacuum, Wall of Replica into the vacuum, everybody's screwed, there is no song, no escape at all, Power Net can't even TP away, Fear going to go for it, but will be dropped down, and with 3 right clicks simultaneously, double kill for S4, double kill for Loda, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. EG get completely obliterated in that fight, and in the game as a whole. In the end, it's an 18.5-minute game with 18 kills for Alliance. Just amazing play, amazing way to force out the lanes. The way Admiral Bulldog played that Darkseer versus the Lone Druid, just fantastic, and force out rotations which broke down their entire composition. Oh, so
Let's
strong.
be fair, we've got to credit Aki as well. Obviously, I mean, that wouldn't have gone half as well as if Aki wasn't up there ganking straight up. And like I said at the start of the game, like, it's not just, like, Alliance, they're probably not going to catch you out on the picks. It's going to be how they run the picks. They're going to do a little bit differently. Like, they just did not expect the fact that there was going to be a Venomancer waiting for that level 1 gank. I mean, we rarely see Venomancer picked anymore, regardless. It's just the fact that he's there hiding, waiting for that level 1 and gets it. They knew exactly where that Lone Druid was going, and they got the pick they wanted.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. And they really ran that composition as exactly how they wanted to. S4 got enough momentum to gank up aggressively with Ball Lightning. He didn't have to do a single thing until Ball Lightning came out. He wasn't pressured in mid. He got his Orchid at a great time, 5-0 and 5. And yeah, meanwhile, Darkseer farms up a 9-minute mechanism. When you have that kind of healing on a Treant team, you're not going to die. And when you're fearless of dying, then you can just do whatever the heck you want. You can take towers, you can take Roshan, you can take fights, all the freaking time. And JO threw out a couple ultis, but I just gotta say they didn't make it because they, as a whole, the team just wasn't making it. They couldn't find an opportunity to 5-man together. They were trying to spread their resources thin to each pick up individual farm, and individually they got picked off, and when they tried to finally fight it together, it was already too late. Just too much coming in from Alliance, as they just show why they are considered one of the best teams. And of course, Admiral Bulldog with that final initiation to slam down the coffin shut. So EG will be eliminated, not eliminated actually. This is going to drop them down into the 3rd and 4th decider, which I believe, as far as the schedule goes, is coming up next. So we're going to be seeing Kaipi go up against the Evil Geniuses, and that's going to be our next thing on the schedule, so we'll see that we can get that all set up. But beyond that, very well played to Alliance as they move on into the grand finals to go up against Fnatic. Hopefully we see some more awesome Meepo, but if not, either way, these two teams are certainly deserving of this position here, and I can't wait for that match as well. So do you have any other thoughts on the match before we move on forward?
Well, on the plus side, EG didn't throw, just Alliance way too strong. I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, obviously, it's a good reminder of the fact that Alliance probably one of the best, or if not the best team at the moment in the scene, so probably one of the hardest teams to beat as well. So EG playing with stand-in, obviously. No demon there, but yeah, I mean, they've done pretty well tonight. They played extremely well in their first match, and tonight, and just then, they got really outthought there, outplayed during the banning stage. Just Alliance, they had a plan, managed to switch it up and mess them up pretty good.
Well, there you go. So, nicely done by Alliance. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this game here. Alliance versus EG. Best of 1. Alliance takes it away. They will be moving up against Fnatic in approximately 1 hour. We're going to see Evil Geniuses go into the 3rd, 4th decider versus Kaipi to decide who's going to be taking away those different diverse point values. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the Premier League Season 5 Aghanims Cup. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the commentary. We'll be seeing you guys on the next game in just a few minutes.